retail hype. They didn't build a casino. They didn't pump meme coins. They spent years grinding through regulation, compliance, and institutional relationships. And now, when the system is finally opening up, they're standing inside the perimeter, not knocking on the door. Now, here's where the misunderstanding really starts, because a lot of people heard Ripple becomes a bank and immediately jumped to the wrong conclusion. I've already seen comments saying Ripple is going to buy a retail exchange, or that you're going to open a checking account with Ripple, or that this turns Ripple into the next JP Morgan. That's not what this is. And honestly, that would be a downgrade, not an upgrade. Ripple does not want to be a retail bank. There is very little margin in holding deposits, dealing with consumer compliance, and competing for everyday customers. The largest banks on earth have massive assets under management, but their valuations are relatively low for a reason. Holding other people's money is not where real leverage is created. What Ripple is doing instead is far more strategic. By becoming an OCC chartered national trust bank, Ripple puts itself on a level regulatory playing field with the institutions it sells to. That's the key. For years, banks had to ask themselves a quiet question before working with Ripple: how much regulatory risk am I taking by touching this company? That question just disappeared. Now it's bank to bank. If a regulated financial institution wants to move dollars into a Ripple-issued stablecoin, custody assets, settle treasuries, or experiment with DLT-based payment rails, there's no longer a gray zone. There's no compliance gymnastics. There's no reputational risk. Ripple is under the same supervisory framework as traditional trust banks. That changes everything. This license is about access. Access to Federal Reserve systems, access to payment infrastructure, access to counterparties that previously had internal restrictions on working with crypto firms. It allows Ripple to build products for banks, not around them. And that is exactly where the real money is. This is also why tying this news to short-term XRP price action misses the point. This isn't a marketing event. It's an infrastructure event. The value of this move doesn't show up in a daily candle. It shows up in what Ripple is now legally allowed to build and who they're allowed to build it with. And when you step back and look at the quality gap this creates, it's honestly not even a comparison anymore. How many crypto companies can say they are federally supervised, issuing compliant stablecoins, integrating with institutional custody, and building core banking infrastructure at the same time? That's not a narrative. That's a structural advantage. Now, this is the part of the conversation where a lot of people are getting completely lost. And honestly, this is where I'm seeing the most bad takes flying around. As soon as the news broke that Ripple received conditional approval to charter a national trust bank, the immediate reaction from a lot of people was, oh, so Ripple is going to become the next Coinbase, or Ripple is going to start competing with retail banks.